Hello, and welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Trent, and I'm the Weft Wright. I'm filming today in my tiny fiber studio here in the mountains of western North Carolina. I have been wanting to make some weaving, spinning, machine knitting videos for some time now, but nothing really inspired me until I came to a point of ultimate frustration with this loom, the David III by Louët. I sold my old Leclerc loom and also got a grant to help me purchase this David. It's the largest of the three sizes of the David III loom, and I've got it 2 years ago. I was one of the first looms shipped out. I ordered it before it was released officially, and I was incredibly disappointed with the shed on this loom. I have only woven 2 projects on this loom in all of those 2 years because of how frustrated I was with the shed. It was messy. It was small. I could barely get a slimline shuttle through it cleanly. I know many people have had this issue because there are countless articles, videos, forum posts, and responses about the same problem. I'm not sure if this is an issue with all of the David looms. I never had a David I or a David II, but certainly this problem exists with the David III loom. I'm a member of the Jane Stafford Online Weaving Guild, and there are several posts on there about this problem. The Jane Stafford website even came out with a worksheet, a PDF, about how to fix the problem. Fix, in quotes. And Louët themselves have come out with a video being more specific about how to adjust the shed on the loom. I've tried all of it, and it still was not great. So I had to put on my engineering hat and crawl under the loom, which, being a 6'4" weaver, is always a little bit of a challenge, especially in a tiny room like this. And I ended up figuring out the real issue, and that is the treadles don't have enough range of motion to make a proper shed, or at least the shed that I wanted when I was weaving. So I figured out how to do a simple alteration to the loom that fixed the problem entirely. I have now woven lace, like a huck lace. I have woven a waffle weave, which is an incredibly unbalanced weave. I've woven plain weave, and I've woven complex twills, all with this alteration in place, and have had no issues whatsoever. Now, this alteration is unauthorized, so you need to carefully consider your loom and your situation and your abilities, and do this at your own risk. If you mess up your loom, Louët is not going to fix it. But it is a pretty simple alteration that I think most people with a power drill can accomplish. So let's get started and take a look at the problem. This is what my shed looked like before the alteration. It is less than 2 inches tall. Both the top and the bottom of the shed are uneven, meaning that the shuttle could not pass smoothly through. You will also notice that the floating selvage is not in the center of the shed. It is a mess. This is the same tie-up after the alteration. It is over 2.5 inches tall. The floating selvage is right in the middle. The bottom of the shed hits the shuttle race perfectly, and the top of the shed is relatively clean. This is my loom, freshly set up in my old studio. I assume if you are watching this video, you either have a David loom or are thinking about getting one. You will know then that the David is a sinking shed loom, meaning that each shaft is held up by a spring, and when the treadles are pressed, you pull the shaft downwards. When the shafts are not attached to the treadles, they are lifted high by the spring and are a perfect distance from the shuttle race. The problem that I found is that when the treadles are tied up to the shafts, they are stopped by this piece of wood that extends the entire width of the loom. I will call it the treadle stop bar. In the wider variants of the David III loom, the lambs are also attached to this piece of wood. When the treadles are tied up to the lambs, they can't go any higher than the treadle stop bar. I found that no matter what I did, no matter what processes that I followed, I could not have my shed even at the top and even at the bottom and open wide enough. I deduced that the reason for this was that the treadles could not travel up high enough. The solution was simple: raise the treadle stop bar. The treadle stop bar is held onto the loom with 4 screws, 2 on either side, shown here circled in red. This meant that it was very easy to take these screws out and raise the shuttle stop bar. After unscrewing all 4 screws, I raised the treadle stop bar and reattached it by inserting the screw through the original top hole and then into the bottom hole of the bar. I carefully lined this up as to be sure that both sides would be even. Then I drilled a new hole in the upright, 2 inches above, to secure the top of the treadle stop bar. Be sure the treadle stop bar is plumb, or straight up and down, before drilling this hole. This effectively raised this bar by 2 inches. Here you see the actual alteration with the new hole drilled. When I was drilling this new hole, I used the same method that was used on the original loom. The hole in the upright was drilled with a 3/16 bit, and only through the upright. You may want to mark the depth with a piece of tape. I continued the hole into that bar itself with a 7/64 bit. Aren't imperial measurements fun? Then I simply put the screw back. That's pretty much it. The bar is now roughly 7.5 inches from the floor, give or take a little bit since I'm measuring on a carpeted floor. It took maybe 5 minutes. I never unattached the lambs from the shafts. There is no need. However, you should unattach the treadles, as you need to do your tie-up in a slightly different way. Instead of using the first hole on your tie-up cord, I find using the second hole works a lot better. For the first and second shaft, I sometimes even use the third hole. You should now follow the Louët produced video about adjusting your shaft heights. This video has great information in it, and it is still applicable as the loom mechanics work exactly the same. I'm going to link that video below. I want to be very clear about something. I'm not insulting Louët products. In fact, I'm quite a Louët fan, and I hopefully am going to get a Jane table loom sometime soon. But I feel that when you spend a significant amount of money on a piece of equipment, you as the owner have the right to make adjustments that are necessary to make that equipment work right for you and for the way you use that equipment. So maybe you have no problem with the shed on your Louët David III, and you have no need for making any of these alterations, but I personally felt that I needed to make this alteration to make weaving more enjoyable for me. I hope you understood the information presented in this video. This is my first time trying to explain more complicated loom mechanics in a video. I do plan on producing several more videos in a similar vein, including a video about putting a shed regulator on a counterbalance loom, which is something that I was really fascinated by and I did to one of my old vintage looms, as well as replacing a ratchet and pawl style braking system on a loom with a tension brake, which most modern looms come with. So if any of these kind of things interest you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a like. Happy weaving from the Weft Wright.